Jam sessions, I think, are really important in meeting people who can give you the connections to go on tours or work on recording projects and the like. And that's what happened to me.
This is The Music Executive, a show where we talk about gig tips, music business strategies, songwriting experiences, collabs, and even more with industry professionals. Let's get into it.
Hello, my name is Cinnamon Denise. I am a singer, songwriter, producer, bassoonist, and host of The Music Executive. Welcome to The Music Executive. Today, we have Phil Adair, who is an incredible pianist and has traveled literally all over the country and the world, performing for various artists and performing his own music. Definitely a professional in every sense of the word. And I'm happy to have him as our guest on The Music Executive. Phil, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here, Stan. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So, Phil, if you could just talk to us about a little bit for the audience about your musical background and really where music has started for you.
Oh, wow. Well, music started for me when I was pretty young, actually. I can't remember music not being a part of my life, actually. I started playing the piano when I was 5 or 6. Parents got me piano lessons. I had a little electric keyboard, I guess, that I would bang on and play with. So they figured, let's get them lessons. And I stuck with that ever since. I fell in love with different genres of music. First, classical, because, that's all I was allowed to listen to at a certain point.
Right.
I used to ride my bike to my first piano teacher's house. He was in my neighborhood, guy from Ghana by the name of Victor Madison, and he really got me up to speed on some classical stuff, with technique and all of this. And I was so passionate about it, they couldn't keep me away from the piano. So that was it. And also my dad played trumpet. In high school, I guess he gave it up when he got to college, but he was a big jazz fan. So my love affair with jazz music, I think, started when I was began listening to some of his records that he would have lying around the house, little tapes and stuff. I had a tape player, like those mini little tapes,
hmm
obsolete now, but I used to listen to those.
So, right now, you are, what's the main project that you're working on, or where's your focus right now?
Well, my focus right now is on a project that I'm working with, an original song that I'm working with a singer from overseas, an artist from overseas, from Lithuania. We co-wrote a song together. Met her when I went to Lithuania a couple of years ago on tour. We're working on making a video. So I'm shooting video and I'm also recording the parts and mixing the stuff down in Reason and Logic, going back and forth with that. So yeah.
Nice. So, when can we expect to hear something from that?
Oh God. Um,
No pressure, no
I
pressure.
Yeah, I hesitate to nail
Gotcha.
down an exact time frame, but
Gotcha.
soon, the sooner
Fair,
the better.
fair enough. Fair enough. So, you said something that young musicians are like, their ears may light up. And you said when I was on tour. So, tell us about how you've gone from playing piano at your house from a 5-year-old to however X years old you are now. I don't even know how old you are. You,
33.
33. Okay. To how old you are to 33 years old now, gone on multiple tours and literally a full-time musician. So what's been that transition?
Well, it's been like a growing process mostly. I went to school for music, so I guess that's really where I entered into the professional realm because all of the people I was around were going on tour and stuff. I went to University of Memphis first at the direction of my jazz band director at the time who recommended that school, among others like Berkeley and stuff. But I settled on University of Memphis because it was cheaper. Yeah, I was just surrounded by people who were like big time musicians and stuff and playing for Stevie Wonder. And all of this I learned from certain people. Took lessons from a guy named Chris Parker on the as far as my jazz education was concerned. But people, I used to go to jam sessions a lot. I still do. Well, I still have up until COVID season has hit us. Jam sessions, I think, are really important in meeting people who can give you the connections to go on tours or work on recording projects and the like. And that's what happened to me. I joined my first band in Memphis with a couple of guys from my school, the Noel twins. They had a band called Six. When they moved to Texas and transferred to go to a school, they invited me to come with them for all of us to get full scholarships at this school called Houston Tillotson University. So I went out there and I ended up entering a competition out there that got me some national notoriety, I guess. The HBCU All Star Jazz Band in New York City. So I represented our school in 2009, and we did a performance at the Schomburg Center in New York City. So that got me some notoriety. So it's just stage by stage, meeting more people, just learning from people and going head first, diving head first into the next opportunity presented to me.
It's interesting that you say that because before we got on this call, right, we talked about different things that musicians are doing that they should be doing and they should stop doing. And one thing that you said is spreading yourself too thin.
Oh, yeah. I'm
So
guilty of that more than anything.
yeah, so tell me, how do you pick which projects to be a part of and which ones not to be a part of? Which ones are quote unquote worth the time and energy and not the best fit for you?
Well, for the most part, I would say, I mean, I think that the client involved is more of a limiting factor than the project per se, at least for me, because I like to challenge myself a lot. I'll even do genres that I've never done before. But as long as I believe that I can get the work done within a certain amount of time, and as long as the client is a reasonable person and price is reasonable, that's really the main deciding factor. The time frame, the money, and if I'm excited about it, that's like an extra deciding factor. I like to do music that I'm passionate about. Like jazz fusion is my favorite music to do, but that doesn't mean that I don't do R&B projects and classical music. I've accompanied violinists and things like this. Whatever I feel is going to be a rewarding experience, I just try to dive headfirst into that, as long as the terms are agreeable.
So I take it you've had times where the terms weren't agreeable and you already agreed to do it.
Oh, yes. And yeah.
So talk to us about that because I think a lot of musicians are like getting places where they're like, I really wish I wouldn't have said yes.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, see, that's where the client is the main factor here. Like, you got to make sure that you're dealing with people who are being, first of all, that are being upfront about how much work is getting ready to be done, what they're expecting from you, and of course, upfront about the money, right? You don't want to get fast talked. I've been fast talked into some situations, boy. But yeah, like I would say limit yourself to projects that first of all that pay the bills, the most amount of money that you can get for a project where you can be creative, where you can't be too limited, where the client is not changing everything at every step of the way, coming with new stuff for you to do for the same amount of money. Make sure you have an understanding with the client that I've agreed to do this amount of work. I'm not doing more. If you want me to do more than that, you're going to have to pay me more than that. So it's really just a basic business acumen thing.
And, talking about money, there's been
Yeah.
so many gigs that I hear, and horror stories that I hear musicians going on where they're like, man, I still haven't been paid from that gig. And
Oh
then,
yeah,
like, it's been 5 years. Yeah. Or like I'll do a
that's
gig,
me.
do a gig with a bass player or a drummer. And, they'll be like, oh, so and so is going to be there too. They're performing before us. Be like, oh no, they still
Yeah,
haven't
don't
paid me.
assume. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So how do you
Uh,
deal with those, basically burning bridges? How do you deal with not burning bridges but still getting your money? How do you approach that?
well, I mean, as far as getting money is concerned, let it be known, but let it be communicated. Every time that, first of all, try to get paid up front as often as possible. Right, that's number
Mm-hmm.
one. But if the agreement is to be paid afterwards, make sure you have a contract. Make sure you have something in writing, even if it's a text message that can effectively be a contract. Because
Mm-hmm.
some people will just be like, "Hey, you want to do this gig?" They'll call you on the phone and say all of this stuff, and then when it's all said and done, they'll say something else, or they'll be like, "Oh, well, I said I might be able to pay you that much, but we didn't really make that much, so you know, I might have to just pay you just for your gas, or you know what I'm saying. We'll do better next time." Don't never accept gigs on word of mouth. Have something written,
Yeah.
and then if if someone says, "I'll pay you," I'm getting paid on Monday, I'll hit you up then, so on and so forth. Bother them to no end, and if you lose contact with them, to me, it's worth it to have that person just out of my life, just to know that, you know what I'm saying. Okay, I'm never messing with them again, and I know what to say to anybody else who asks me about working with them. You know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, I got people who still owe me money and stuff.
So transitioning, let's talk a little bit about something that I really admired you for. Talk about building something from the ground up was you transitioning and building your profile on thebash.com, also formerly known as
Gig masters.
Gigmasters. So talk about that. First, tell the audience what the Bash, formerly known as Gigmasters, is, and then tell us how you've kind of built your business around that model.
Gig masters. Basically, some years ago, I was getting all of my gigs from Craigslist or just word of mouth, people calling me for gigs. But if I had to search and find gigs, it would be on Craigslist or, some kind of classified thing where people are asking for musicians. And I found a couple of different platforms, Gigmasters, which turned out to be the best one, where you just sign up and they direct people your way. You have a profile, you upload footage to it. Luckily, I had been taking photos and videos of my previous gigs that I could post on there so people can see what I have to offer. And then put, your price range and all of your everything that you would want to know, a client to know about you up there. The platform is really good because every client will approach you with what they need and what they want, how much they're willing to spend, and you can name your own price, of course. So they submit what's called a gig request, which is the type of event, the type of all of the details besides the address and other things like that. But then you submit back to them a quote, and you can include a message which will further specify what you have to offer, and maybe you can talk yourself up a little bit to them and let them know why they should hire you and not somebody else. And it's perfect because you get to talk to them. If you're what they need, they click an orange button and you get hired. And contractual stuff, all the legal stuff is handled by the platform. Insurance and things like that is handled by the platform. And also you can link the pay to directly to your account so you can be paid directly in advance.
And so how did you get started? So you researched a couple of them.
Yeah.
You found Gig Masters, The Bash. And my thing is usually when you see these types of sites, you're like, for example, Fiverr, it's so
Yeah.
saturated. You're like, there's no way I'm ever going to get hired on this platform.
I guess what made it convincing to me was there were other people that I knew that were on there already. There were already like certain bands that I played for, that I still play for from time to time, had profiles on there, and it shows how many gigs. Like you can see 50 confirmed bookings or whatever, and you can see how often they were getting hired and what their profile looks like. So you can use it as a model. And then also there's videos all over YouTube. I use YouTube to research pretty much everything. So I looked on there and I saw that a lot of people had good things to say about the platform. So, it kind of helped me to be more confident in that and spending the money. And I spent that money, and I took it was still a risk to spend the money, but it immediately paid for itself in the first month or so. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. And so the moral of the story here is make sure you have content to put up on these profiles, right?
Yeah. Content. Make sure you have content, and make sure you do your own research.
Yeah. The best piece of advice that you could give, apart from not spreading yourself too thin, what would you say to the 25 year old of Phil? Do not do this. Do this.
Oh, man. I would say invest in yourself as much as you can right now, you know, and the fruits will come from that. Like buy the gear that you need, the speakers, because all of these things that you think you don't need right now, you're going to need them. Invest in high quality content, invest in high quality, a high quality camera to get very good professional looking footage, to get, invest in just high quality gear, high quality everything. Don't limit yourself to regional, to just taking regional gigs and stuff. Go as far as you push yourself as far as you can go on your platform.
Very nice. I like that. And invest in yourself. You heard it.
Yes.
You heard it clear as day. Invest in yourself. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
Just don't limit yourself. If you're a musician out there and you just call yourself, an R&B guitarist or whatever, explore other genres. Every genre helps all the other genres. Really don't spread yourself thin in terms of work, but also don't pigeon yourself in terms of a genre of music or even a role. Most musicians have a good ear. You might be able to do other things like live sound. You might be able
Right.
to, yeah. So branch out as much as possible. I'll say that.
Okay. And the last thing is, where can the audience find you and what can we expect from Phil Adair?
Well, first of all, where you can find me on Instagram at chillphil87. That's CHILL, two L's in chill, one L in Phil, 87, all one word. On YouTube and Twitter, I'm at chillphiljazz, all one word. Also, if you're interested in seeing some of my students, I teach piano lessons too, and I post videos of them, virtual recitals, if you will, on a channel called Focal Point Piano Lessons on YouTube. And number one, philipadair.com. Go to philipadair.com. You can see everything about me.
Beautiful. Well, Phil, it's been fun having you. I really admire what you do, and I think you bring a lot of value, and you've always been super professional in every instance that could have gone wrong or gone well or anything like that. Just know that your professionalism is noted and it is appreciated. So that's Phil Adair. Thank you so much for listening to The Music Executive, and we'll see you on the next episode.
don't forget to leave a rating of the show. It helps to make us better. Thanks so much. Y'all take care.